As you all know for sure that US Congress has recently started its debate on the 2018 Farm Bill, that is to stretch out a program of spending from 2019 to 2023. The Farm Bill typically, it's a very complex bill, but has impacts very widely. It will affect farmers in the United States, farmers in other countries, and producers along the value chain, as much as all of you and myself as consumers of farm products. But the particular focus we want to have is how it will impact on people, farmers and consumers in developing countries. It's a very complex bill, so we won't discuss all elements. We won't have time for that, so particularly focus on the domestic support measures that are included or likely to be included in the bill, but likely also will stir quite a bit of discussion. It will also have an impact on the WTO negotiations, which typically, where a lot of the discussion on the agricultural parts of the agreement typically depends on what the United States wants or would not allow for on the domestic support measures. But let me not dwell on all these issues. We have an eminent set of experts to talk about this, and I'll introduce them all at one go, and then I give them subsequently the floor. We'll have three presentations, starting with Joe Glauber, who works in my division, and he will set the stage by talking about the United States farm programs and their impact on trade. Aside from being a senior research fellow at IFPRI at the moment, he was previously a chief economist at the US Department of Agriculture. Then Joe's presentation will be followed by a presentation by Dr. Vincent Smith, who will talk about reforming the US food aid program. Dr. Smith is a professor of economics at Montana State University and a visiting fellow at the American Enterprise Institute. And last but not least, the third presentation will be made by Valeria Pineiro, who is an economist also in the Markets, Trade and Institutions division here at IFPRI, and she will talk specifically about the impact of the domestic support reforms on developing countries. And then we have two eminent discussants. The first, also known to the audience here, Kimberly Elliott, who's a visiting fellow at the Center for Global Development. And she has a recent book on global agriculture and the American farmer, opportunities for US leadership. No doubt she has some insights to convey to us that are relevant to the topic today. And then the second discussant will be Schropp, who is a managing economist at Sidley, Austin, LLP, and he has a long experience in integrating economic analysis into international dispute settlement, which is an important mechanism within the WTO arrangements and which typically developing countries make use of. And in doing so, Simon assisted the government of Brazil in securing a retaliation award of many millions of dollars against the United States within the WTO context. Okay, let me finish the introduction here. Now give the floor to each of the presenters, who will take about 12 minutes for their presentation. I'll keep an eye on the clock. Aside from the clock being there, it was already around 0 for my own time. Then 5 minutes for each of the discussants, and then we open up for all of you to raise comments and questions to the presenters and the panelists. So without further ado, Joe, you have the floor.